Some artists live for decades and barely ripple the water. Others arrive like a storm, change the tide, and vanish before we've even found the words to describe them. xxxtentacion was the second kind. Loved by millions, hated by many, impossible to ignore. Behind the stage name was a kid from Florida, Jarza Dwayne Ricardo Onfroy, carrying contradictions he couldn't hide, turning them into music people felt in their bones. He was born on January 23, 1998, in Plantation, Florida, and life did not hand him an easy script. His father spent long stretches behind bars. His mother, young and struggling, moved often, chasing stability that never lasted. The person who gave Jarza the closest thing to a steady home was his grandmother, a woman he adored. But even there he dragged a storm cloud behind him. Teachers said he couldn't sit still. Principals knew his name. He fought, he got suspended, he came back, he tried again. Anger was the language he knew best, until he found another. Before he learned how to control that anger, he learned how to pour it into sound. He taught himself piano and guitar, learning melodies by ear. He listened to everything: rap, punk, rock, R&B, even the old songs his grandmother loved. He liked rawness more than polish, emotion more than perfection. Still, the streets took their tax. As a teen he was arrested, and in juvenile detention he met a kindred spirit, Stokely Goulbourne, later known as Ski Mask the Slump God. They talked about escaping with music, about a new wave that didn't exist yet but could. The dream was simple: get out, and make the world feel what they felt. When he got out, Jarza recorded anywhere he could: a friend's house, a bedroom closet, a borrowed microphone balanced on a stack of books. He uploaded the results to SoundCloud under a jagged new name, xxxtentacion, Unknown Temptation. The songs sounded like a panic attack and a diary entry at the same time: distorted bass, screamed hooks, sudden whispers, fragile melodies that made you lean closer. This wasn't built for radio. This was built for people who had feelings that didn't fit into normal conversations. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, check my profile. Then came, Look at Me. A grenade tossed into the internet. Kids who felt invisible suddenly felt seen. Mosh pits formed before he even had proper stages. Grainy phone videos showed a wiry, blue-haired teenager turning tiny rooms into earthquakes. To worried adults, it looked dangerous. To kids who were hurting, it looked like someone finally telling the truth out loud. But truth is complicated. Along with the rise came the headlines: arrests, court dates, serious allegations that followed him everywhere. Journalists lined up to condemn him. Some fans defended him. Others stepped back and waited. Jarza, for his part, spoke about darkness openly. Things he'd done, things done to him, the rage that made him hard to love. He said he wanted to change, to be better than his worst day. Whether you believed him or not depended on where you stood and what you needed from him. Meanwhile, the music evolved. The scream rap thunder stayed, but something softer began to bloom. On Jocelyn Flores, he mourned a friend with a voice so quiet it sounded like he was talking to himself. On Sad, he confessed the kind of hurt young men are taught to swallow. He tried bare, unguarded singing. He brought in acoustic guitars. He wrote about anxiety and suicide without pretending to have the answers. The songs were short, sometimes barely 2 minutes, but they carried the weight of late-night thoughts you only admit to your ceiling. He wasn't alone anymore, either. With Ski Mask and a circle of South Florida artists, he helped spark a wave far bigger than any one kid. Members only formed around them, a loose family of collaborators, misfits, and believers. The formula was simple: bedroom studios, cheap mics, upload at midnight, wake up to a global comment section. At shows, his speeches were part punk rally, part group therapy. He'd tell the crowd to hold each other up if someone fell. He'd ask people to repeat after him: love yourself, love the person next to you. Then the beat would drop and the floor would move like an ocean. Between the chaos and the concerts, he kept planning. He teased an album called Bad Vibes Forever, like a prophecy. He released 17 in 2017, a quiet detour that sounded like 3 AM confessions, and then, in 2018, a shape-shifting project that jumped from scream to lullaby without warning. He spoke more often about positivity, about giving back. Fans shared clips of him handing out gifts, paying for groceries, visiting schools, organizing community drives. Critics shared case files and said none of it could erase the harm. Both things can be true at once. A person can do damage and still try to heal. A person can try to heal and still leave scars behind. And then the story took a turn no one can rewrite. On June 18, 2018, in Deerfield Beach, Florida, he stopped by a motorcycle dealership. He left with no security, just a bag of cash and a plan to ride. As he pulled out in his black BMW, a car boxed him in. Men with guns approached. In seconds, the future was gone. The news flashed across phones like a siren. xxxtentacion has been shot. He was 20 years old. The internet went quiet and then it detonated. Outside the hospital, fans gathered and prayed. Across the world, kids who had never met him sobbed in bedrooms their parents paid for, because grief does not ask for permission. Murals appeared, candlelight vigils filled the night, and the music, his real biography, surged to the surface. Sad climbed to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, a grim coronation that felt like both victory and heartbreak. Streams soared, tattoos were inked, comments filled with the same 2 words, thank you. In the months and years after, the arguments continued. Was he a monster redeemed too late? Was he a wounded kid trying to heal who never got the time? People chose their answers and held them close. But while opinion fought opinion, the songs kept moving through headphones, buses, gyms, studios, and long walks home. New artists cited him as an influence. New fans discovered old tracks and heard themselves in the static. Posthumous releases, Skins, and then, Bad Vibes Forever, stitched together fragments, voice notes, unfinished sketches, moments that hinted at versions of him the world would never get to meet. If you want to measure legacy, you can count streams and plaques. But there's another way. Listen to the stories people tell. A boy in Lagos says, Jocelyn Flores helped him cry for the first time in years. A girl in Sao Paulo says, sad, made her call a friend instead of doing something permanent. A kid in Manchester started recording on a cracked phone because XXX taught him that perfection isn't where honesty lives. These aren't statistics, they're fingerprints. Still, shadows don't vanish just because the light is bright. The allegations, the violence, the harm some say he caused, those are part of the story too. The court case ended only because life ended first. There was no verdict to close the file. That discomfort is real. It's right to sit with it. It's right to ask for better from the artists we love. It's also human to recognize that people are